group was split into two halves and we were all given the choice of a job role. My job roles for the shoot were boom operator for the first half and camera assistant for the second half. These roles meant that the majority of work I will be doing will be on the actual day of the shoot, as my roles are not pre-production based. However, there were many decisions that had to be made as a group about the film itself. A group chat was made shortly after discovering our roles, and on this chat we discussed meeting dates and general information about the shoot. The first thing we did was organise a group meeting to discuss the main points about our film, such as what genre we wished the film to be and how we wanted to interpret and change the script to suit our desired style. Collectively, we decided we all liked the idea of creating a film that would fit into the sci-fi genre, and we took inspiration from films such as Blade Runner. One of the main reasons for this is that we believed the story would fit well with the genre, and it also gave us creative freedom to use exciting shots and create a futuristic set. After all this was decided, we set out a list of dates to follow between our first tech rehearsal and the due date for the film. This spanned between the 23rd of November and the 21st of December. After the dates were set, everyone began to work on their individual roles, thus things began to spring into motion, and after more group meetings the script was then completed, and from this a storyboard and shot list was drawn. Once the shot list was posted onto our group page, I began to scan through the shots and began planning for the day of the shoot for my role of boom operator. Firstly, I began to look at the shots and started planning where would be the best place for me to stand during the filming to record the best possible sound. Some of the shots were more straightforward than others, such as simple mid-shots and close-ups, as I could put the mic almost next to the actors and it would not affect the camera or lighting. However, some shots, such as wides and track and dolly shots, took more careful planning and consideration. An example of one shot that I thought was going to be difficult was one of our opening shots, which was a tracking shot. This was difficult to plan because it was also a wide shot, so to stay out of shot and avoid casting shadows, I planned to walk alongside the camera, but also reach in with the boom to get as close to the actors as possible. When it came to the dress rehearsal, my thoughts were correct, and trying to find a position to stand during this shot where I didn't interfere with the camera was difficult. However, I had the larger boom bolt which extended just long enough for me to stand on the corner of the set and have the boom just out of frame above the actors. Therefore, I did not have to walk alongside the camera as I originally thought I would have to, and this was beneficial as it may have picked up my footsteps if I were walking. It also didn't have any impact on the lighting or cast any shadows, so when it came to the day of the shoot I had no issues trying to find my place to position the boom. This planning saved me time and therefore helped the shoot to run smoothly. However, this shot was a long take, so holding the boom steady and in the same position throughout the shot was difficult. Therefore, a lesson learnt for a shot like this is to have the actors wearing lapel mics as a backup, so that the quality of sound is consistent throughout. Also, we recorded the wild track, which meant that we can put lines in after filming if we needed to. Although lapel mics would be easier to sync the audio with the action as they were recorded at the same time. Another difficulty I had was during the shoot. There was a point whilst I was operating the boom that a hissing noise could be heard over the top of all the background noise and dialogue. I discussed with the sound technician to try and resolve the issue. We tried unplugging all the equipment and plugging it back in, but the problem was not resolved. So we decided to change the zoom mic and see if this would fix the problem, but the noise continued to reappear. Finally, we decided to play back the recordings through the computer and see if the noise was still present, and to our surprise it wasn't. Therefore, the problem was the headphones that we were using, and so there was no effect to the sound that we were recording. This was a tiny problem that could have been resolved in seconds, but instead it cost us valuable minutes of shooting time. Although there was nothing we could do to gain back this lost time, I have learned that in the future I should first play back the sound through the computer to check if there was a problem with the actual recording equipment itself. This will be a more efficient way of trying to solve the problem and will save time. For most of the shots on our shot list, the majority were static shots, so pulling focus was not an issue. I just had to set the focus and make sure we were using the correct lenses during the setting up of the shots. However, one shot we had to do that involved pulling focus was a pan and tilt shot of one character walking towards the other. This was a shot that we had not planned to use but agreed that it would work on the day. After a few practices and marking out the points of focus with the actors, we decided to try a few takes, but the pace of the actors during the actual takes was a lot faster during the takes than the rehearsals. The camera operator, myself and the DOP discussed the best way to solve the issue, and in the end we decided that the director would spend a few moments with the actors and try to get them to keep their pace consistent throughout. After this we did some more takes and the pace of the camera and actors matched and we got some really nice shots. From this we have now learned that in the future we need to direct the actors to stay steady with the camera movement. Also, marking spots for actors to match the focus is key. During the pre-production process of our film, we found the actors that we were needed well in advance and discussed with them prices of travel and arranged a local hotel for them to stay. However, on the day of our dress rehearsal, one of our actors pulled out last minute and left us without an actor for one of our lead roles. As a group, we came together to find a solution and asked around all the actors we knew individually that could potentially take the role. Thankfully, we found an actor that the director Dan had worked with before and was willing to play the part. The only issue is that he had roughly read the script, so he knew none of his lines and he didn't know how we wanted the character to develop throughout the film. This therefore meant that our shooting time had to be delayed by an hour and a half. This put a lot of stress on the crew as we now had to cut the planned times for each shot. Although this issue caused a lot of problems for the group, in a strange way it helped us because with all the spare time we had, we were able to plan in more detail the shots we were going to do. Also, to try and counter this unfortunate occurrence, we decided to change around our schedule and shoot the scenes in which the boy actor was not needed. Although the new restraints were stressful, everyone in the group thrived under the pressure of the situation and we caught up with the original schedule within hours. The delay also helped our other actors to have more time to rehearse and therefore led to a better performance. Another issue we had with actors was that our lead actress was not keen on the idea of having to swap directors halfway through the day, her reasons for this being that she had already formed a relationship and understanding with Dan, the first director, which had been working very well. So after we returned from lunch, the switch of crew roles took place and the morale of both actors dropped due to the change. Because of this, shots were now taking longer and the quality of acting had decreased. So as a group we called in the makeup for the actors whilst we discussed the best possible way to solve the problem. Collectively, we decided that the best way to resolve the problem was to have Dan, who was the director for the first half of the day, to mainly focus on directing the actors. This would be done by the new director Robbie talking closely with Dan to discuss his ideas. These ideas were then passed on to the actors by Dan. The situation was handled maturely, and after everyone was agreed on the changes, we began to shoot again, and instantly the morale was raised and we were getting better takes from the actors. After this, the rest of the shoot ran smoothly and we were able to get some beautiful shots. We finished ahead of schedule for the day and were able to get some of our wish list shots. When we finally wrapped for the day, there was a sense of relief from everyone, but also a sense of pride as we had managed to get all the shots we needed, and we stuck to our time schedule even with the large unforeseen delay. Overall, I was very happy with my contribution to the film in my specific roles, although from this experience there are many things that collectively as a group and individually we can improve on for next time. Individually, I've learned that as camera assistant I must take down more notes and measurements during rehearsals so that on the day of the shoot I can set up my aspects of the shot as quickly as possible. Also, I need to study the shot list in more detail so I know which lenses will be needed for the next shot so I can change them quicker and be ready to shoot as quick as possible. In terms of being boom operator, there are also things I can improve on for next time, such as learning from my mistakes from this shoot when there was a problem with the equipment, so now I will be more efficient when solving the problem rather than wasting time on set. Altogether, I really enjoyed my roles and working with the rest of the crew. I also believe that together we have created a successful film.